hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Dylan Poley. Thank you very much for being here. And in this video, I'm going to be kind of sharing my thoughts and my insights and my experience at the Leadville Heavy Half in Leadville, Colorado over this last weekend. So let's get started. Stick around to the end to learn my top 4 strategies for altitude training while living in a relatively flat state like Michigan. See ya. Now, getting closer to Leadville, we were driving to Leadville and I had to do my shakeout run at elevation. So I decided to pull over on some random trail, hiking trail, and just give it a whirl. I ended up only running a mile and 1.22 miles, something like that. But I definitely felt. Now, my feelings, my thoughts driving up to Leadville, into the town for packet pickup and the run expo, I started to get really nervous. I could feel my ears popping as I was getting closer to Leadville, and it was just a great experience. I was excited, I was nervous, I had butterflies, I was honestly a little bit scared because I had never run in elevation like that except for up in the mountains in Iraq while on deployment. But even then, I don't even know how high I was. So if you didn't know, Leadville, Colorado is this old mining town that sits at literally 10,500 feet. That's the town itself. Like, you just walk outside, you're at 10,500 feet. Holy moly. So the night before rather, we get to our Airbnb, which is freaking beautiful, by the way. We stayed at a ski resort in Copper Springs in Copper Mountain. So the night before these kind of races, I'm pretty chill because I know my body is going to go through a massive amount of exertion. It's going to go through a lot of maybe pain, suffering. I'm going to be pushed to the max. So what I like to do is like get something like a pizza or go smash on a burger or something real fatty. So as far as prep goes, for my gear, we had this huge table. I'll drop a picture, but we had this huge table and I just set everything out, everything that I'm going to need tomorrow, from what I needed to stretch, to warm up, my Theragun, my poles. You got to be ready. You got to be prepared. Prepare for the absolute worst case scenario. So for me, that meant, ready? Putting in some dude wipes. Yeah, you never know when you got to take a poop in the woods, okay? I think it's funny. And then lastly, the night before, just rest. Like I said earlier, it was just kind of chilling, relaxing, unwinding, and just get ready for the next day. Now, waking up for race day, I was a little nervous as I put all my stuff on, all my gear. I did a little bit of mobility, lacrosse ball, do some foam rolling, did some Theragun work, did some light dynamic stretching, and just really getting mentally prepared for what is about to happen and lining up for the race. I remember feeling very excited, talking with other people, met some dudes, some veterans from Fort Bragg where I was stationed, met some people from Detroit, Ypsilanti. It was a really cool experience, and being around other people who are about to embark on this journey with me is a very special feeling. I was mixed in with people who had done this for the last 5 years. It's their first time. It's their first half marathon. For me, it was my first time running that kind of distance, 15.7 miles. Well, it came out to be 16 miles in elevation like that. So it was very special to me. And taking off, the first few miles were pretty chill. Some steep inclines, but nothing too radical. Started slowly climbing. I could slowly start to feel the air get thinner and colder. And I'm like, oh, here we go. And my adrenaline starts pumping. I start running the uphills, which I told myself I wasn't going to do. And I had to kind of back off on the gas pedal a little bit. A general rule of thumb for these ultra trail marathons is you walk the uphills and you run the flats and the downhills. So that is pretty much what everybody did, except Of course, there's going to be a few outliers, a few dudes or women that are absolute beasts. Maybe they've been training for years, and maybe they live in Colorado and they're used to the elevation. So of course there's going to be people who run the uphills and are absolute monsters. But for me, I absolutely ran the flats and the downhills and hiked at a fast pace uphill with my poles. I will expand on running with poles in a later video. If you are curious about that, like this video and put it in the comments below. The first few miles were okay. Now getting up to the last aid station, which was Resurrection, right before the last push up the last huge incline, I was feeling really good. And I turned the corner and I see where all of the other runners are slowly making their way up the mountain, and they're disappearing into the blizzard. So of course my initial thoughts were, holy moly, this is going to be intense. And it, for a second there, it kind of took my soul. I looked at where I had to go and how far I had to go and what was up there, and I started feeling sorry for myself. I started getting into my head a little bit, and I quickly noticed what was going on, and I knew what I had to do. I had to snap out of that mindset, because that mindset, if you're not careful, can completely dismantle your drive, your motivation, everything. It can just make your race really bad. So I just told myself, as I was going up this brutal freaking hill at the steepest incline I've ever climbed, on rocks, running water, ice cold water, it's snowing, it's it's a blizzard up there, and my heart's pounding, I'm suffocating, I'm freaking just in the suck, okay? And I just told myself to just keep looking at my feet, one foot in front of the other, keep looking at my feet, keep moving my arms, keep moving the poles, just 1 foot at a time. And another thing that I like to do is when I'm doing these really hard parts, or hard workouts, whatever, I don't look at my watch. I think, in my opinion, it's the absolute worst thing you can do is look at your watch when you're suffering like that, because it's just going to go by even slower. You know how you look at a clock or something, and because you're just anxious about, you're excited about something to be done or to get over with, so you can go do that thing, and it just seems like it's going by so slow. That's how it is. And the more you look at your watch, well, in my personal experience, the more I look at my watch, the more I start to feel sorry for myself and just get inside of my head. So, quick rule of thumb: don't look at your watch, just be in the moment, take in the scenery, which is that final push right before the aid station, where I could see the aid station, I could see everybody hanging out and smiling and laughing, just really happy about what they just accomplished, because once we got to the turnaround point at the top, we know it's all downhill pretty much from here. So that was a really good feeling, is getting up there and just slowly making my way down. Now the downhills is what I feel like most people don't realize, is the downhills can be just as jarring as the incline. Not as bad, but going downhill requires different muscles, and if you go really fast, you have the increased chance of hurting yourself, slipping on a rock, slipping on a boulder, or very slippery sand, dirt. So it is almost just as taxing as going uphill, but it's just at a faster pace. So that was good. So on the way back down, of course I leveraged the downhills and ran as fast as I could. And the final push, it was such a nice run back. Like after that brutal incline there before the turnaround point, the rest of the way was just so beautiful. It felt easy. I was just taking my time, taking in the scenery, which was amazing. So grateful that I had the chance to do that. And yeah, I came in at 4 hours, 7 minutes, and 57 seconds, which was much better than I thought I would do. Maybe because I was just working myself up, but I was fully expecting maybe like 5-6 hours, but turns out the training that I've been doing, the training that my amazing coach Zach Russell from Boundless Endurance, he's been putting me through. Very knowledgeable guy. Shout out to Zach and Boundless Endurance. Thank you for supporting me. And yeah, I mean, I knocked it out. I felt really good. I felt really good afterwards. My legs weren't sore. It was just the elevation that was really taxing on me the most. My legs actually felt fucking fine. My legs actually felt fine. Even the next day, even on the way home in the plane, it's fine. My hip flexors were fine. That tells me that what I'm doing here in Michigan, which was a lot of my worry, was training here in Michigan, training for a race at such high elevation as Leadville. It gives me a little bit of peace of mind knowing that what I'm doing here is working, and it just really gave me that jolt of energy and the confidence and the trust in the process that I do day in and day out to prepare for these hard races. So here we are, my top 4 strategies for altitude training while living in a relatively flat state like Michigan. Now, I just want to start by saying that there's truly no way to replicate training at altitude better than training at altitude. So nothing is going to truly prepare yourself better than if I went there for like a week, 2 weeks, maybe a whole month to train at elevation. There's nothing that can compare to that. But not everybody has the resources or the time to go do that. So we have to use what we have here in Michigan. So for me, that is, so number 1 is being as fit as possible. Of course, you're going to want to be as fit as possible because you're putting your body through a lot of stress, a lot of strain. So you want your body to be able to handle that stress. So that's where training comes in. So number 2 is training in hot, humid environments. So in Michigan, there's no shortage of hot, humid environments. Just yesterday, it was 90% humidity and I knocked out a 16-mile run. So that was perfect. And running midday, like the hard threshold intervals, the hard tempo workouts, the fartleks, all these things you could do in the middle of the day. Get out there and suffer and suffer, because that's the best way we're gonna replicate that, unless we find some magical really tall hill around here, which I don't think we will. So heat training coming in at number 2. Number 3 is running with heavy shit. So by this I mean run with a rucksack. I use a Go rucksack with a 30-pound plate, and I'll go do like a 5-mile ruck run or like a 12-mile ruck march at a 15-minute per mile pace. And number 4, really tough incline treadmill workouts. Okay, I'm gonna want to bump that thing up as high as it goes to 15% on most treadmills, and start slow. Power walk up the 15% incline for 10-15 minutes at a time. Take a break and do that again for 3 times. And then, so there you have it. Those are my top 4 strategies for altitude training while living in a relatively flat state in Michigan. Now, if you want me to make a separate video and expand on any of these topics, I absolutely can do that. I would love to do that. Just let me know in the comments below. Like, share this video, subscribe for more beautiful running content, and I'll see you later. Peace.